Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's MYgration Film Watch Party. I'm Lori Turchin, the film curator, and this
And I'm Terry Olson, Fusion Fest's chief instigator.
and indeed he is. Tonight we're going to show a movie that unfortunately our filmmaker couldn't join us. But this particular movie, it was made the first year that we did the MYgration Film Festival. So it wasn't this pairing party like we had. And a then master's student at Full Sail from India actually got a bunch of his friends together. And I think what's so wonderful about this particular movie is that it just shows the need and how inherent it is in us to go back to where we came from, even if we're not there anymore. And I think you'll see what I mean when we show the movie. Tally, can we roll it?
It also shows how much fun youngsters can have.
Absolutely. It's inspiring for sure.
Sound rolling? Tell me something about yourself, bro.
It was a bit nervousness in the start, like when the plane landed and like going out of the and looking everything around is so different. Like India is so populated and everyone are so chill. Weather is so good. Like people just like come straight forward and like, hey, what's up? How's going on? And I was like, what?
Never went out of my home, and the beautiful sky actually, it was like mind blowing.
Well, my experience was disastrous because ultimately I arrived here during time of Hurricane Irma, and it was really bad. Electricity was not available.
It's giving me a bipolar feeling because like one day it's raining, one day it's not. Some days you're busy with assignments, some days you're like absolutely bored and doing nothing, just waiting for something to do. So yeah, just getting like this mixed feelings. Yeah.
My menu are tamarind rice, rasam, sambar, and plain rice. And then we have vada, we can fry vada.
Done.
Ooh, that's
Tamarind rice, bro.
that's perfect. Like sell out, shut up and take my money kind of deal.
It was very hard for me to leave all the relatives and my family and come over here where you have to cook your own food. You have to do everything on your own, and it was a new experience for me.
I was thinking to pursue my higher studies. I went to my mom and I spoke about it, and she was so happy. Like at last, a person who never likes education wants to go for higher education.
So when we finally found out that I actually got accepted, everyone was just excited and happy for me because I was surrounded by very good people.
Like the day I revealed her that I've got visa, my mom started crying, saying that you don't even know how to cook food. How are you going to survive there?
Yeah, whenever I used to like something, I just told dad and mom, I'm buying this. Here, you have to think about it to see how much you have in your bank account.
Genius. Sambar, rasam, green beans, fry, and papats.
I have understood the worth of home cooked food now. Like back at my place, I used to be stubborn about eating green vegetables and whatnot. Bloody hell, if I'm going to get anything cooked by my food right here, anytime, I'll just straight away eat it without showing any tantrums or anything. It's pretty much like that.
Yeah, it was very difficult for me at first because of change of weather, change of society, change of way of living, and so yeah.
Oh, like my home food and the specific Maharashtrian food, like the spicy curry food, like the proper rice flour bhakri and the proper dried fish curry and the dried fish masalas and everything. That's the main thing I'm missing.
It was really tough for me to get away from my comfort zone and to get away from my family, but I took that decision. It's like, it's that one moment when you come out of the car, you see the airport in front of you, that automatic door of the airport opens and you know the moment you are going to step in, your life is not going to be same anymore. And you can't turn around because you know that if you will, you'll see your mom or your family members crying behind you and you'll cry as well. Yeah, it was emotional, but emotional good.
Just think, like, they are so happy for just one night.
Yeah.
This is like every night in India. We love food so much. We never give up on food.
But it's new, like this situation where I'm living right now, it's new and I'm getting used to it. And the more I get used to it, the better I become.
So, Laurie, you're muted. Oh, there you go.
There you go. So a little after the fact, Annant was the one who made the film. And during Fusion Fest, his parents came from India, and I got to watch the film with them. And I'm telling you right now, by the end of the film, we were all crying. And I personally could relate to that, looking back when you move away from home and everyone's crying and you can't look back. But what I think is interesting is that of all these guys, Annant is the only one who's still here in the States. Everyone else ended up back in India. And I think knowing Annant, that this opportunity and the success he had with this film and the feeling it gave him and sharing it with his parents really encouraged him not to give up. And when I spoke to him last week, I jokingly said to him, because last year at this time he was struggling to stay in the States and I was writing letters for him that weren't being successful. And jokingly, I said, "So did you get married?" And he's married and he's going to be a citizen. And I think the inspiration or the hope of making this film and it being successful kind of gave him that confidence that he needed to move to LA and to make it like Annant was not taking no for an answer from anybody. And I think that really speaks to the spirit of being an immigrant here, that you want to succeed. And Annant is the example of the one who just will not take failure for an answer. So thanks so much to Annant and his friends for being vulnerable and showing us that, yes, you can still live your culture here in Orlando, no matter what it is, in this case, Indian. And I'm just sorry Annant was unable to be with us. Terry?
Well, I should also explain to our viewers about this MYgration Film series. Laurie is our curator, and right now she's in the process of putting together about 20 filmmakers, maybe some less, with about 20 Central Floridians from different backgrounds. And on the last weekend of this month, they will have 5 days. They'll meet, randomly be paired, have 5 days to make a short film like this about that person. And those films we show on a monthly basis at our watch parties. We also premiere all the new ones on the last Saturday of September and the first Saturday of October at Rollins Bush Auditorium and at the CMX Theater downtown. And then they're shown at Fusion Fest as well. So just want to give a context for this film. But we chose this partly because it's very close to India Independence Day, the 75th anniversary of India's independence from England. And we have a guest or two here, Lila Chaco from the India Center at UCF. Welcome, Lila.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to join you as we celebrate India's Independence Day, which was just yesterday, but we'll be celebrating throughout the year with events at the India Center at UCF.
Is there any particular way that you guys, is there a certain thing that you guys are doing that is indicative of your heritage to celebrate this milestone?
At the India Center, we're not doing one thing in particular because the students aren't quite back from summer vacation yet. and Independence Day was yesterday, we decided we're just going to do various events throughout the year, academic and cultural events to celebrate. But in India, there were lots of events, parades and fireworks with the prime minister and throughout the whole country. I know my cousin was part of an event at a university where they were raising the flag and lots of marching. It was quite a big event. But yeah, we're excited for upcoming events at the India Center. We have quite a few things already planned for this coming semester. But this film really spoke to me both, seeing the students, and I work so closely with students at UCF, and having them talk about food, which speaks, that really spoke to me. And the food they were eating was stuff that I'm very familiar with, everyday food for me, stuff that I grew up with. They were eating sambar, which my parents tell me I ate on my very first birthday. Sambar. So sambar is a kind of dal. So a lot of Indians eat dal every day, which is, you can make it with various kinds of lentils or split peas, chickpeas. But the way in South India we make sambar, it has a lot of tomatoes and vegetables. And there's this superfood that's kind of made it in the US called moringa. So we add moringa, the fruit from that tree, to sambar, and okra. It's quite a hearty dal. And that's honestly like everyday food. And we have that with rice, and the papadam, which is made from a lentil flour and usually deep fried. So yeah, my very first birthday, I was eating that with rice and had the papadam all broken up on top. So my parents tell me, and we eat that a lot here at my house.
You use the term dal. What is that?
So dal, it can be made with different kinds of chickpeas or
So that's the kind of moist
bean. It's a not quite a bean, but a pulse.
Like a hummus.
Yeah, but we have it as like a, you cook the bean or the lentil until it kind of disintegrates, so it's almost soupy. But there are lots of different kinds of pulses that people use. So there's one called urud dal, which is usually used in sambar. Yeah, but you can make other kinds of dals in North India. There's various forms.
You mentioned South India, North India. Although you were raised in the United States, what part of India is your heritage?
It is from South India, from the state of Kerala, which is Southwest India. And my background screen is in Kerala. It's got the Indian Ocean on one side, so the water and seafood plays very heavily in Kerala cuisine. And another thing I just want to point out from the film, I don't know if people watching would pick up on this, but it caught my eye right away, was there was a jar on the table, which I'm pretty sure was a jar of pickle. And it's not like the pickles that a lot of people in the US would think. Indian pickles, or amchars, as they say, are made with different things, different fruits or vegetables, and very spicy, with lots of chilies and garlic and onion. So you can add that to your food, your dal or whatever curry, to make it even spicier and add more flavor. So when I saw that, it just warmed my heart, because I love having homemade pickle with my food. We make it with green mango usually.
Is it easy to find this stuff here in Orlando? I mean,
well, yes, it is now. My parents came to Orlando in 1979, and there wasn't any Indian store. They would go to India and bring stuff back in the suitcase, or when they traveled. But now there's several Indian stores. There's a very big one at OBT in Sand Lake, and there's a couple on OBT. So there's lots of options. And even in regular mainstream grocery stores, you can find some Indian ingredients, which is great.
Why did your parents decide on Orlando as opposed to anywhere else in America? Just curious.
Well, essentially, it boiled down to the weather. They were in New York and Connecticut before, and Kerala is like climate-wise similar to Florida. And so yeah, they were sick of the snow. And it's interesting because my parents, um, growing up in India, ate a lot of mangoes and tropical fruits. And now here in Orlando, they grow all kinds of tropical fruits in their home, and so do I. That's my Indian heritage showing with the the mangoes growing at home. But the students' film spoke to me too, with my family and knowing what they did. You know, leaving their families and making that decision to migrate here and leaving all that behind permanently. And I know it wasn't easy, but you know, they put up with that challenge and, you know, went back to India to see their families, but I know it wasn't easy to leave.
No, it wasn't. And I know Annant, like literally when I asked him, I said, "So did you get married? Is that the reason you're still here?" I was kidding. And he
Mhm.
goes, "No, it was a girl that he went to Full Sail with, and she
Okay.
revealed her feelings to him." And, you know, it's like a great story on so many levels, of accomplishment and fortitude, you know?
Yeah, I
Well,
love that.
India is a very large place, like 1.3 billion people.
Mhm.
You're from the Southwest, but in the North, it's up by the Himalayas, right? And mountains, so lots of different places there.
That
And
is true.
75 years ago, it was a colony of Britain and was made independent. I know that's beyond your time, but in your summers in India, did any of your older relatives talk at all about that time of independence?
Yeah, my you know, my dad definitely talked about him growing up in a free India and um being free from British rule, even though he was born 1 year before India gained its independence. And then
So he wasn't 1 years old, wasn't out in the street going, hey.
no, but my grandfather, who was a paternal grandfather, who was a judge in India, you know, he talked about the change going from being under the British rule to then working as a judge in free India. Um, so yeah, definitely heard those stories growing up. But also, I just wanted to go back to a point you made about India being so big. It's true. India is a huge country with more than 1.3 billion people, and you know, my family and what I'm kind of used to in India is Kerala and you know, this tropical environment. But yeah, then you get the mountains, and there's many different religions in India, many different languages, and that's what I love is the diversity within India with the languages and food and cultures and religions. It makes it very unique. So even though sambar and papadam is everyday food for me, it may not be for someone from Northeast India. And we ate a lot of rice growing up. The chapatis and naans, the kind of breads, those are more recent for people in Kerala, where my family's from. My parents didn't grow up eating chapatis and naans. It was rice every day.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a little creature peering over your shoulder.
Yeah, I see. I see. That is a quilt in my real background. There's a quilt with dogs, which isn't very Indian, but a homemade quilt,
Do you
which is
have any
beautiful.
children yourself?
I do. I do have two children, two girls.
How do you
Um,
pass it on to them? You know, I mean, especially I don't know how old they are, but, you know, kids today are so not caring about the past and, you know, they don't want the china and the, you know, the stuff, the heritage that, you know,
mhm,
in tchotchke form, if you will.
And
mhm.
before you answer that, let us know the heritage of your husband.
Yes,
Okay.
please do.
So my husband is a New Zealander,
Oh,
and also a white New Zealander. There's New Zealanders of all different
Are you Matt's
ethnicities.
wife?
I am.
Oh, okay. We met then. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're not only in the United States, but we're blending the New Zealand culture and Indian culture. But my kids, they go to Indian festivals. My older daughter is 13, and she did Indian dance, classical Indian dance for many years. My younger daughter's 4, and she hasn't really done any dance yet. But food is a big thing for us, and they're very used to eating Indian food. My mom, who we see often, cooks Indian food daily and sends lots of Indian food, and I cook some, but not as good as her. So yeah, she'll make the Indian pickles and all kinds of curries and make sure our fridge is stacked. So for my kids, they get a lot of the culture through the food, the language, and kind of being around Indian people regularly and coming to a lot of Indian events as well. So I'm hoping that they're getting some of the culture. They've been to India, they've been to New Zealand, but they haven't been to India yet, unfortunately.
How did your film contest go?
Yeah, no, it went well last year with the Asian Cultural Association. It went actually very well.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I
I'm
was
sorry I
quite
couldn't
impressed.
help you.
No, we had some really good submissions. A lot of Indian students submitted, so it was, yeah, I was quite impressed.
Good. Maybe you can share their names with me so next year we can get them as Filmmakers Fusion Fest.
Yeah, there were some UCF students, and then quite a few from India submitted things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Somehow, I don't know how they
We've
learned
been
about
trying
it.
to get this Nepal guy since year 1. I'm still in touch with him. He tells me he's showing up at Fusion Fest this year, but Terry and I even signed papers to immigrate, to get him here that first year.
Okay.
Like, wow, but it's never happened, unfortunately. So,
Oh, that's a shame.
yeah, but he said he'd be at Fusion Fest this year, so we'll see.
And we kind of referred to it when she mentioned her husband, Matthew Petty, was the subject of one of these MYgration films last year.
And actually the winner of the grand prize.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a beautiful film, not because of the subject, but I thought Carluca and his team did an amazing job.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
This year they'll be judges. So
Mac says
nice.
thank you for hosting this, and you're welcome, Mac. It's our pleasure.
Oh. Yeah, no, this is fun. I really like talking about India and having the opportunity to teach other people about India, and especially the fact that it's India's Independence Day celebration, ongoing.
What is one lesson you think the rest of Central Florida can or should learn from the folks here of Indian heritage?
I mean, really, it's something that I've already said, and it's the diversity within India, because people might assume, seeing an Indian person, that they're a certain religion, but understanding there's so many different religions in India, and then the languages. I've had people come up to me and speak Hindi, but I don't speak Hindi. I speak Malayalam, which is spoken in the state of Kerala. So understanding all that, the differences within one state.
And that's it's difficult. Can't say that it's all smooth in India. In fact, the independence, the partitioning that happened related to that was pretty chaotic. But hopefully we can learn that we don't have to resort to the kind of fighting that can happen when we think of other people from us, other religions, other lifestyles as other from us, but respect those people.
Amen.
Yeah, agreed. Yes. Thank you so much for saying that.
Well, you're welcome. And we want to thank anyone that's watching this for joining us. Next month, we will be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, I believe.
Yep.
So the third Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. Join us, and we'll see 1 or 2 films and have some special guests as well.
Great. Thank you all for coming. And hopefully next year, this will encourage you all to sign up for a migration film to be done.
We want to tell your story.
We want to tell your story.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
great-
Bye.
Thank you for coming.